I have for you today this butterfly painting that we're doing tonight, and this is going to be for easy beginners. There's going to be 7 colors we're going to be using. I'll go over that with you guys, but right now the supplies that we're going to be using is an 8x10 canvas, and I'll show you guys the paintbrush we're using. But please note you will need a blow dryer as well as extra water because the paints do need to be watered down in order to get that drip effect for the butterflies. And as you can see on the lower right hand corner, we have our reference photo and we've got our 8x10 in landscape mode right in front of us. So let's go ahead and take a look. Here's our reference photo that we're going to be doing tonight, and here are the 7 colors that we're going to be using. So we've got our non-watered down, just plain black. We've got our fluorescent green, using some bright colors tonight. We've got our fluorescent violet, non-watered down white. We've got fluorescent yellow, turquoise, and fluorescent pink. And the brush we're going to be using today is just our chisel brush. So with that said, let me go ahead and show you our setup again. All right, so in the lower right hand corner you can see what we're trying to achieve tonight. What we're going to do first is we're going to lay down the splatter. So what I want you to do is make sure your paint is about a 50-50 consistency. So what that means is half water, half paint. I'm going to go ahead and set up my paints right there so you could see them. I added about half of the amount of water versus paint. So they're super watery and we're going to get a nice little drip. And as you can see, I set up my canvas today a little bit differently. This is an 8x10. And we have this running landscape, which is lengthwise, side to side. And I did this propped up so that our paints can have a nice little drip effect going down it. So also if you need to lay something extra down just to protect your counter, please do so. Might want to do that right now. Put my white up there. I'm just going to lay all my colors out so you can see this. All right. Now my colors are pretty watered down. Just make sure you blend them right before you're using them. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Just note on the chat box. It takes me about 15 seconds to respond and answer any questions. H is for hold. Y is for yes. I'm going to go ahead and just hold off. I'm going to let Jade hop on here. If you guys have anything you need to ask me, feel free to on a little chat box on the right hand side. Tonight we are going to be using acrylic paints. And again, this is our easy beginners. Thursday night's going to be a little bit more of a regular paint class. So let's just get ready. I'm going to wait for Jade. So right now, just make sure you get all your stuff together. All right, perfect. All right, Jade, so one thing to make sure you have water and that your portrait, or your landscape canvas is in its upright position. So we could go ahead and make sure that those paints are dripping down and that you have your blow dryer handy and ready. So what I like to do on this, since we're doing drips, is I like to start on the bottom and work my way up, just because as it drips, the colors on the top are going to bleed in with the colors on the bottom. You don't want the vice versa. So we're going to start off with our lightest color, which is going to be that fluorescent yellow. Go ahead and grab this fluorescent yellow. I'm going to show it to you guys here. And mix it with your chisel brush. You want it to almost be able to drip off of your brush. If it's not, then it's been really, really hot and we need to add some extra water. Actually, just be really generous. Gotta add just a few drops of water. Not too much. But you do want it to be pretty liquidy. Okay? So like I said, it's just about to drip off my brush. I could see, yep, just about to drip off. That's the consistency I want, where it doesn't pour, but as you can see, as I pulled it up, it's ready to drip down. Okay, so let's start with our light color, yellow. And we're gonna go a little bit lower, and there's no right or wrong to this. All we're doing is layering on lots and lots of color. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find my halfway point, and I'm gonna go a little bit lower than that halfway point, and I like to just blot it. Just blot some color in. And you can get really messy with this if you want. You could add more color. I'm just blotting in color. And as you can see, it's already starting to drip. Now the area I want to cover is completely up to you. It's your painting. But because we're adding a lot of different colors, I'm gonna say don't go any smaller than, let's say, a size of a lime. So if you go smaller, then it's not really, you're not going to get that much color all across your canvas. So as you can see, right there, just blotted on some yellow. It's dripping down. I'm going to kind of do the same thing on my other side, because whatever I do on this side, I kind of want to mimic it on this side. If it's not mimicked, that's perfectly fine, because then you could just have a rainbow of colors. It's up to you. It's your painting. As you can see, I'm just letting these drip down. There's no rhyme or reason. Just want to get about the size of a lime going. And if you notice that your paint is too thick, what you can do is water it down, and if you want like a drip and it's not dripping because it's too thick, you just go over it and you kind of just keep blotting down, and that paint is just going to pool and it's going to build. I'm going to keep adding paint until it just wants to keep dripping. Okay, there we go. So I just kept adding more paint until I got that drip that I wanted. Yep, just like I wanted. And again, doesn't have to be exact. We're just splashing on color and then we'll go over it. But what we do on our right side, we kind of want to mimic it on our left side as best we can for later, so they both look consistent. And let's go ahead and wash out your brush. We're always going to go lighter to darker, bottom to top. Make sure your chisel brush is dried out. Okay, now let's go with that fluorescent orange. Put that yellow back. Oh, we don't have that fluorescent orange. Let's go, I'm sorry, with the pink. Let's do this pink. So this is going to blend into that yellow and make a type of orange. But let's go ahead and mix until we get that drip consistency. I need a little bit more water. So I'm going to just pour a little bit of water, drips, a few drops of water into this. And I want to keep mixing until I get right there, right where it's about to drip. It's going to drip. There we go. That's good enough where you just see it dripping off of that paintbrush. Okay. And let's go more towards the middle. And we're just going to go ahead and lay on some color. And you're going to see the bleeding of colors right now. You just want to dab, keep dabbing it. Keep dabbing color. all across the middle. You don't want to leave too much white. So you just splatter on color. And you're going to see it bleeding in and see how it's taking form, and that's going to drip all the way down, and that's going to look really nice later. This is easy because, you know, no right or wrong. We're just letting our paint drip down. There we go. Maybe I want a little bit of drip over here, so I'm going to just do what I did earlier, and I'm just going to put it consistently over until more and more paint is dripping down where I want it to. I'm just going to plop more color on. Ooh, that's looking pretty. All right, now that I got pink on, it looks somewhat even. Remember, we don't have to be perfect. We're just letting them drip. But I do want a really pretty drip right here, so I'm just going to add some until it drips. There we go. All right, now we can wash your brush out and move on to the next color. Let's go with some green. Let's do our green right now. So I'm going to grab the fluorescent green, mix it in, and again I could tell I'm going to need a little bit more water to this because I want to be able to lift it up and it to just barely drip. It's a little too thick. Just add a drop or two of water. Mix it really well so it's not clumpy. Okay. Now I'm going to go right next to this pink and yellow, and I'm just going to start dripping it, plopping it on. Be careful as it gets close to that pink, because if it mixes too much with that pink, you're going to get like a brown. So you don't really want it to mix into that pink very much. We're more looking for color all around that yellow, just so we get a splash of yellow. Splash of green. Okay, and again, if you want it to have a drip, just kind of hold it over and hold it until all that paint piles up and it's just going to drip on down. Just going to hold it. There we go. I'm going to come to this side and start plopping down my green, trying to stay somewhat consistent with one side and the other side at the same time. But if not, that's perfect, because butterflies do not look the same. You're going to see a lot of inconsistencies even in their wings. So if you don't do everything exact on one side, do not worry. Okay, I'm just adding in that green. Again, about the size of a lime, no smaller than a lime. Just plopping color down. Trying to cover my white canvas, leaving a little extra down here for that white to show through. Okay, I want a little drip right there, so I'm going to hold it until it decides that it wants to drip. Okay, let's go ahead and clean out your brush. We're going to move on to our purple. Okay, let's grab your purple, mix that purple up. All right, now this is still too thick, so again, I'm going to add a little tiny bit of water till it's just about to drip off my paintbrush. Mix it really well. It's about to drip. Okay, so now we're going to work on the sides. Let's go ahead and just take it, and we're almost going to go all the way off the side of this canvas. See, my paint's a little bit too thick, so I am going to add a little bit more water. That's good. You guys are seeing the consistency that you need. Make sure you mix it really well. Yep, just about to drip, and it barely drips with just a little help. So I'm going to go ahead and plop some color on. Kind of wants to ride that green, which is fine because that's going to look really cool. Just going to plop some purple all over the edge. Maybe even above that green a little bit. Just trying to get some purple color in there. You even have it all the way over here dripping. Again, hold it down and it should give you a nice droplet if you hold it. Just adding color in. Even a little bit over. I want to have it go all the way to the corner too. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Plop down some color. Let it naturally drip. Let it do its thing. Kind of work your way up to the middle, to the edge, because you are going to see that your wings are going to go all the way over. And just plop that color down. But you don't want to see white underneath it. So I want a little drip right there. I'm going to hold it over and let it drip. I'm going to hold it over and let it drip. Okay, it looks somewhat similar. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just adding in some color. And you know, if you like to mix some of these colors with colors you already have, that's good. Like right here, there's a lot of white going on, so I could just take a little bit of purple, because I know that purple is going to look good with that pink, and just kind of add some drips right there in the middle, just so that I got some extra color. You could do that if you want, you don't have to, but now I've got some extra color going on in the middle. All right. Now let's move on to our blue, or turquoise, I should say. Wash out your brush. Dry it off. Let's grab that turquoise. Okay. Go ahead and mix. This one's got a nice consistency already. Pull it up. Maybe a little bit of water. You're looking for it just about to drip without dripping. Okay, let's test this out. I'm going to go on top of these colors, and it's just going to bleed on down. All I want to do is just lay it down now. I don't want to actually put my brush in any of those colors. I just want to lay down that blue on top of it. And it will just bleed through. It'll go down, do its thing. You can even come up on the purple. Just have your color just bleed on top of it. Just plop it down. Easy, right? Got a little bit of splatter in there, but hey, it makes it look that much cooler, I think. Adding some color at the top. Might want it to drip down a little bit, so I'm just going to hold it until it gets more paint in there. Yeah, there it goes. It's dripping down now. Okay, just plop on that paint. Maybe some up here too. Why not? Got a little drip going, might as well add it over here. Okay. I got a lot of paint going on. Now, what I'm going to do, go ahead and wash your brush, dry it off, and if you have a blow dryer, make sure that your heat setting is the lowest it could be, so you're not working with too high of heat, but also you do want to kind of hold your canvas, and at the same time you want to aim your blow dryer down and use the low setting, and you don't want to be too close to your paint when you start. You do want to be further away, because if you're too close, then you are going to start smearing and you're going to see waves, and really we want the paint to look like it's just falling down. So if you're going to use your blow dryer, use it from a distance until you see that it's dry. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. I have it on the low setting, and I'm going to use the lowest speed setting. You should see all this pretty paint that's piled up down here. It's really cool looking. All right, so I'm going to do it as far, I'm not going to do it close, I'm going to do it pretty far away, and I'm going to aim it down so that it's not going in different directions. Another thing to note is this paint is pretty thick because we plopped it on and let it drip. So it is going to take a little bit longer to blow dry. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be a few more minutes of blow drying before we can move to our next part. Okay. Perfect example. You could see a little right here where that purple is bleeding into that green. It's a little crackling, and what that told me is my heat setting is a little bit too high, even though it's on the lowest setting. So just be careful. That's what happens, and that's what we're not looking for when we use our blow dryer, is that high heat to start crackling like this. So I can either choose to leave it, or I could go over it with a little bit more purple, but then I have to probably pause and come back later. I'm going to choose to move forward, but that's just an example of what can happen if your heat setting is a little bit too high. Right now my paint is not quite dry. I'm still going to keep blow drying it, but I'm going to go now on my cold setting just to make sure it doesn't crackle anymore. All right, I'm pretty much dry. Just make sure you can do a little touch. You're not picking up any paint on your hands. I'm pretty dry. All right, so this is a really good technique that we could use on different types of paintings, just because all we focus on is layering and splattering, laying down paint, and then focusing on putting something on top of it, whether it's a silhouette, a shadow, and that could be our main detail. You can have any kind of creature, the shape of your face. You could do an outline of something and just layer it over a bunch of splattered paint, and that's just a really cool technique. And it's really simple because everybody could do it. You don't have to be really good at painting. This is something just to get you into painting. So right now we are going to move forward with trying to outline our butterfly. And for that, we're going to go ahead and pull out our chisel brush again. And we're going to dip that in our black paint. Go ahead and load up your black paint, and what I want you to do is right where your color starts, just a little bit down from the top, I want you to go ahead and just find your middle, and you're just going to put a little dot. Make sure that's kind of where you're at. You want to go in the middle. And from here, I'm just going to lay down my chisel brush and rotate my finger around to give myself a circle. Just rotate that around in a circle. All you have to do is just twist your fingers and it will make a circle for you. Just like that. Now for the butterfly's body, I want to focus on an oval shape, a very skinny oval. So I'm just going to focus on a skinny oval. And then as I get down to the bottom, I'm just going to draw a little line out, almost like a tail. Just draw a little line out. And you can go ahead and fill that in. An oval with a tail. There we go. Okay. Load it up with some more black. Now let's work on the outline of our wings. So what I want to do is right where the body meets the head, I want to start there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a slight curved line all the way just to the tip of my canvas up here. So right here, I'm just going to go and draw a line, curved all the way up to the tip. And I want to mimic the same thing, and I want to go where that head meets the body and curve a line all the way up to the tip of my canvas. Just like that. Okay, get some more black paint. And now I want to come halfway down the body. And what I want to do is I just want to make a line straight across, slightly down. Before I get to the end of the canvas, I want to curve it and go up and curve it a little bit more until I'm meeting back up with my original top brush. Okay, I want to mimic the other side. So again, I'm going to start halfway on the body. And I just kind of want to curve down. And before I get to the end of my canvas, I want to curve up and curve it back into my top. You see we got its main two wings right now. Go ahead, get some more black paint. Now from here, I like to start right where the body, right where you made that straight line down and it meets the body. We're going to start here, and we're just going to go down slightly and back up slightly, just a little mountain. And we're going to curve that back around and come in a little bit. So a little mountain, right back where the straight line meets the body. Some more black paint, and we're going to do the same right where the body meets that straight line. We're going to go down a little bit, make a little mountain, go down a little bit more, and we're going to curve back into our top. Just like that. Now that you have that basic outline, this is where you could go ahead and perfect it. Because right here, we want to make sure they're pretty even. So what I could do is I can make this come down a little bit more and make that area thicker. And then I could come over here and fill this area in, make this thicker. So it kind of matches my other side, but remember, butterflies aren't exactly the same. Both of their wings, actually, if you ever look really close to a butterfly, their wings have different patterns on them. We're just going to do the same pattern if we can. If not, then that means yours looks more realistic if it's not exact. Kind of want to bring this down a little bit more, so I'm just going to fill that in. Again, bringing it down a little bit more and filling it in, just so that it I could take a step back and kind of compare both sides and see what side needs more paint. Okay. Need more black. All right. So for my top, what I want to do here is I want to kind of just do a wiggle line and just kind of fill in that tip with some black paint. And you can do the same thing to the other side. It doesn't have to be perfect. So you're going to fill that little tip in, and it can go off your canvas. But fill that tip in with some paint. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay. From here, we're going to work on those little patterns on the inside of the butterflies. So what I like to do is that little tip that I created, I like to start there. And all I'm going to do is a curved line all the way back down to where I started right here. So what I mean is a curved line all the way back down to where I started. And I'm going to do one side and I'm going to switch to the other side. So I'm constantly doing the same thing. So I'm going to start on the corner right here. Curve a line all the way back down to where I started. Okay? And from here, I'm just going to find my middle point with this curved line, and I'm just going to curve another line and bring it back down to the body. Same you want to do on the same side, or opposite side, is find your middle point and just kind of curve one line right back down to the body. They're not exact, but they are similar. Okay? We're going to continue with that. And now we're going to go up here, and I just kind of want to create a straight line going out to the outside of that. And again, I want to come and make another straight line to the bottom of that. Do it again. And let's make another one. What I could do here is I could thicken this side wing up so I can add some white in here later. Now I want to do the same on this side. And remember, if you do yours different, you make it only 2 or you add 5, it actually looks more realistic because butterflies do not have identical wings. So I'm just going to do 1 line. I'm going to do 2 lines. For my butterfly, 3 lines, 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's good for me. And I'm going to thicken this line up at that corner, right where it curves. I'm going to thicken this line up altogether. Yep. Just thicken that line up so you really see that butterfly. Okay. Get some more black paint. And what I'm going to do here is kind of create a little circle. I'm going to do the same over here. Just kind of paint in a little circle. And then all those little holes, you could just paint those in. And then I like to do a little curve. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure you're trying to stay consistent. If not, then that looks good too. It's all unique. Okay, so now we're going to focus on the bottom. I really want these bottom wings to stand out, so I want that black to be thickened. That's just my butterfly. I want a little bit more black on here. Okay. Now I'm going to load up my black chisel brush. And let's start by just starting where the top part meets the bottom in the middle, and just kind of draw an oval shape. Again, right where the corner meets the bottom, just draw a little oval shape on both sides. Okay, from here, I could just kind of do a little curve into that line I just made. And then from here, I could just curve right back into the body. All right. Need more paint. If it's see-through, go ahead and add more paint. Now I'm going to start at that top, and I'm just going to do another oval shape going back into the butterfly right here. If that's too confusing, too hard for you, you could just do your own pattern. It is up to you. All right. It's not exact, but similar. And then I could just go ahead and add shapes in here. I could add a little line, and I could round those off. I'm going to make those more into circles if I want. Round it off. Okay. And again, I could just come in here, add some more black streaks. And I'm looking at my painting and I am missing some antennas. Definitely need some antennas. You could just brush all that black in so there's no lines on the body. Okay, make sure your chisel brush only gets a little bit of black paint just on the very, very tips to do those skinny antennas. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of black paint. And I'm just going to start at the top of the head and brush out 2 lines. And at the top of those 2 lines, kind of want to make a tiny little oval. Just like that. Just a little oval. Okay. Now you're going to need to dry this before we lay our white on, but if there's any color that's showing through on your black outline, now would be the time just to go over that. Make sure that color is not showing through that black, because that's what's going to make that butterfly pop out at you, come to life. Again, I said this is a really cool technique if there's like an outline you're thinking of, or if you want to do a face outline or an animal or a heart, a different shape. Just go ahead, splatter some paint, let it dry, come back to it later. Take some black and white paint and do a really cool silhouette over it. It's a really neat technique. And the more you paint, the better you're going to get every single time. So, with that being said, go ahead, wash out your chisel brush, dry it out, and we could blow dry this because it's black paint. It's not really going to show any cracking, so I can use a little bit higher of a heat setting so it goes a little faster. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Hit it for about a minute with my medium heat. All right, so do the little touch test. Make sure it's nice and dry. You're not pulling up any paint. A little bit of wet paint there. So now we're just going to add our little highlight features, and that just makes our butterfly pop a little bit more. So again, there's no right or wrong to this. It's just laying down some color. But I'm going to use my chisel brush again and very lightly add a little bit of the white paint, just for highlights. So I like to start off just by dabbing just that little corner of my chisel brush in white, and I'm going to give it a little glistening droplet on its head, just like the light is just picking up off of its head. I'm going to add a little bit more paint and just do a little streak across its body. Okay. And what I like to do is I like to just get a tiny bit of paint on the edges and just dab little white dots all along the bottom of my butterfly in different sizes, big sizes, small size. It's completely up to you. As I get closer to the bottom, I do like to make them a little bit bigger as we go out to the edge, and just have it go up a little bit into the wings. You can add as many or as little as you want. They don't have to be exact. They don't have to look identical. We're just adding little highlights. They don't necessarily look like perfect circles either. Just adding some splatters of color. Yep. Okay, I'm going to move up onto my wings now. Again, as I get closer to the corners, I like to do a little bit bigger of splatters and then get to the little tiny ones. You can add as many or as few as you want. Hope that you guys will take this concept and make a different piece of art using this technique where you just splatter on some color and come back, find a silhouette of something, and then just go ahead and lay that right on top of it. Even if it's just a simple heart, it'll look really cool. And what I've seen people do their names, and they'll trace and do an outline of their name with all that paint drip in the backdrop, which looks really cool. That's something to do. Just adding wherever I feel like. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and wash off my chisel brush because I like it. If you want to add more, you could do that. If you need to darken up your black lines, this would be a good time. If you want to finish it later, you can always come back and finish it. But I'm going to go ahead and do a signature. I really could choose anywhere, but I don't want to take away from my drip, so I'm going to sign my name right here on the side. I'm going to do that in black. Sign it wherever you want. And that's my little signature, just on the side. All right, and as usual, I like to do a comparison to show you that every painting is totally unique and different. So I'll go ahead and do that side by side. Okay. We are looking at our reference photo. This was our reference. And this was our painting from tonight. still a little bit wet on the bottom, so I'm just going to hold it up so you could see. A little bit different, a little bit bigger. Lots and lots of color on there though. I like them both. And I really like the paint splatter that it left on my table because it's super bright and like a very, very cool color. Just a blend of colors. I'll show you that. I got this like little nice rainbow effect going on over here. But that was it for tonight. Hopefully you guys thought it was easy and simple and you had a good time. This is going to be the last easy painting Tuesday night for a little while, just because the kids are going back to school, and that means I'm usually working on homework with my kids until late hours of the night, sometimes almost bedtime. So with that being said, I'm going to continue to put up videos. If you guys subscribe to this channel, you'll be notified as soon as a video gets posted up, and you guys can keep in touch that way. I also have a Facebook account, so if you go to the About Me page, you can find my link to my Facebook and go ahead and post up any pictures that you guys have painted from any of these videos. But please do subscribe, because I'm going to continue doing easy beginner paintings as well as regular paintings. In fact, this Thursday night we're going to be doing a warm desert, and so this is going to be Thursday night's painting, and I do recommend somebody that's a little bit more comfortable with painting, not necessarily their first time painting, to do something like this on our Thursday night, this Thursday, 7 o'clock. But again, this will be the last regular painting for a while until I go ahead and post some more up here on YouTube. If you guys have any questions, I'll leave that open right now. But any acrylic questions, anything you'd like to ask, I'll just leave this up for a few more seconds. I hope you guys had a great time though. And I'll miss you until I see you again. Bye, Jade. Bye, you guys. Take care.